Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I wanted to make a video commenting on the recent Supreme Court decisions, a couple other things that are continuing to go on around this country. First of all, I want to say, the absolutely right choices made by the Supreme Court to strike down the Defense of Marriage Act, allow gays, the entire transgender, the LGBT community to enjoy the same rights and benefits as everybody else. And that includes the right to get married and have all the financial benefits, everything be recognized by the federal government so that they can do estate planning for people that, they end up with oftentimes for the rest of their lives, just like everybody else. And, unfortunately, they're going to also have to, accept the not too good portions of marriage, and that includes divorce and all the other things that go along with that. I think that was a good decision on the part of the Supreme Court. But on the other hand, we had the striking down of a portion of the Civil Rights Law, which required states with a lengthy and ongoing habit of enacting election laws which systematically disenfranchise people from being able to vote to get pre-approval from the Justice Department prior to them changing their election laws. Now, of course, they struck this part down because they said, well, this is not endemic anymore. Well, what's interesting about this, of course, is that the fact that it's not endemic anymore in the states in which it was going on is because they had the law in place which required that the Justice Department pre-approve any changes to election law. So, I don't understand the reasoning behind this at all. I guess the Supreme Court is schizophrenic, and I guess we shouldn't be too surprised by that because society in general is schizophrenic. So, while they do actually do one good thing, they give with one hand and take away with another. And, of course, 2 hours after that decision came down regarding the Civil Rights Act, Texas put forward a new law which is going to seek to redistrict and do all kinds of other changes to their election law so that all of the poor people, all of the African Americans, all of the elderly, all those people who, and of course the burgeoning Latino community down there, all of those people that would be systematically disenfranchised in the old system, in the old South, will continue to be so. And of course, this is just another example of how entrenched some of this neo-Confederate new Civil War mentality is amongst some of these groups of people in several states. And what we see, of course, is we see very recalcitrant governors who are so far right that, they're like little Benito Mussolinis running their states. Look at what's happening in Michigan, which I've talked about several times, where you have emergency managers who are, in a sense, complete and absolute dictators of states that are taken over and have all of their cities, in Michigan that are taken over and have all their assets stripped away and sold right out from under them. And of course, what's that mean for the people that live there? They have no representative form of government. They're living in like a sort of no man's land of fascist dreams and candy plums and sugar-coated art treasures. So, of course, this is going to continue to march on. You're going to actually see a continued development of this sort of thing where these draconian laws are going to be attempting to pass. I mean, look at Texas as another example with the extreme anti-abortion legislation, which was rightfully filibustered in the Texas Senate to prevent its passage. But of course, Governor Perry comes back with another special session, and it seems as though that law is going to make it through this time. Because they'll just rig it so that it does, prevent someone from being able to filibuster for a long enough period of time. And, of course, the law is going to pass. And unfortunately, that's a terrible trend. And it seems as though while you have some progressive elements moving in this country to try to make sure everybody is treated equally, you equally have several states who are absolutely bound and determined to disenfranchise people and take away rights from people for no other reason other than the color of their skin or their gender or whatever. And it's just a really sad day in America for me, because that just means more division and more civil unrest, and of course that feeds into the idea of these neo-Confederates to balkanize this country completely, tear away states from the federal government, because the federal government, of course, is under complete assault right now, with the various leaking scandals, generals being investigated, the coup that was attempted to happen last year. All this stuff is coming to the fore, and it's not a pretty picture for the either the short term or the long term. And of course, there are also the many other things that are happening here which are very important, which have been shoved to the side in all of the blitz of news that comes to us all the time, and that is the idea that economic rights in this country continue to be assaulted on every level. Unions destroyed, the right to organize destroyed, high pay jobs destroyed. No job recovery, supposedly. You have the decoupling of the stock market from the economy so that it can go through the roof at the same time that the rest of the economy is in deep depression. And this is supposed to mask, homelessness, foreclosures, robbery, theft from these banks, money laundering, hiding money overseas. You have corporations conducting massive fraud, and nothing is done about it. It's like we're beyond the looking glass in another world altogether. And of course, this is what I call the breakdown of the archonic reality, where we're finally getting to the end game, where the built-in schizophrenic and insane nature of reality is starting to break down into its insane components. And that's not going to bode well for the long term, because it's going to lead to a lot of problems. And as that system breaks down, the world is going to descend into more and more chaos. And we see that around the world, in Turkey and Brazil and Greece and Spain and Portugal and, you name it. Even places where they don't really have much of a movement. We did have a group of Chinese workers take their CEO hostage whenever he came to China to lay Chinese people off, so that then they could hire people in India who work for a couple pennies less an hour. And that just goes to show you that every penny of profit is the only thing that these people care about. They don't care about the lives, the environment, or anything else that's destroyed in the process. Just give them more profit. That's all they want. So these are just some observations for you. I hope that there are people who are in Texas and in other states that have historic disenfranchisement of voters have been prepared for this, so that they can have a grassroots effort to try and block some of the most egregious things that are coming. Now, of course, you know my attitude on voting, and I don't think that we really have any true voting in this country, because we have candidates that are pre-selected for every position that's open, and because of that, we don't really have a choice. We only have a choice amongst the choices that they give us, so we can't elect someone who we really want, who is outside the system. So I don't think voting is all that great, but at the same time, I think everybody has a right to vote, and hopefully at some point in time we would be able to have a reformation of the entire election system in this country, so that it can be tracked from beginning to end and not be fudged, faked, and overturned, and secretly have votes changed so that whatever their favorite candidate is the one that ends up getting elected. So those are my thoughts on some recent activities. And of course, things, on the one hand, you might look and see that there's progress being made, but you have to see the other side of that coin as well, and see that even as some progress is being made, great, huge leaps backwards are also being made, mostly by the states, in reaction to some of these things, and that does not bode well for people in the long run. So, get active and hopefully start organizing now, because you're going to have a big uphill fight for some of these more draconian efforts that are coming along. Of course, I would be remiss if I did not also comment on the absolutely horrific misogynistic things that are coming down. I did comment on the radical anti-abortion law in Texas, which was filibustered, but they're coming at us from everywhere. Every one of these states with these really hard right fascistic governors seems bound and determined to prevent women from having any kind of control over their own selves, their own bodies, and it doesn't strike them as odd at all that all of these laws are crafted by men and being imposed upon women. It's ludicrous. But that's what you have, and that's what's going to keep coming. So I hope people, will stay focused and stay sharp and try to effect some kind of change, while at the same time not losing sight of bigger issues. Not that those issues are not important, but there are also bigger, broader issues that affect people living and dying right now, and that of course is economic issues. Like, where are the jobs? Where's all of the protections that were built in through the New Deal and throughout the years that have been systematically stripped away? Where are the good jobs? Where's the living wage? Where's all of the other things that are important? Where's the funding for infrastructure? Where's the massive jobs program, et cetera, et cetera? We have to stay focused on all of these things. And of course, it's very difficult to stay focused on one thing when you're assaulted every day by something that's coming along to destroy you. So, sometimes it can be rather disheartening, but I think in the long term, if people can stay focused and we can continue to organize people to attack some of these various problems on the various fronts that they hit us at, that we can have some victories. And I think that there is still hope that things can change, but it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's going to be a very difficult fight. So those are my thoughts, and thank you for listening. Have a good day.